Ma'am, I'll start with the catch-all question. Where are we with regards to Sputnik V? Ano po ba ang participation natin dito? And let's start with that. I mean, what can people expect? Are we in this or not? And what does it mean, whether we're in it or not?
Well, we are on to the negotiations part pa lang po, no? So yesterday, Department of Science and Technology had a meeting with the manufacturers already, yung sa Gamaleya, and they have tried to discuss it with them already, exploring the different avenues, and tinitignan po natin kung ano ang pwede nating gawin, no? So Department of Science and Technology would be the right agency to give all the details for this. But just so that we would want everybody to know, no, even though we are going to have, if ever, no, we are going to have the clinical trial here for the phase 3 clinical trial of the Sputnik V. It is going to undergo all regulatory processes of the government. So once a vaccine comes in, whether it be Sputnik V or the other vaccines that we are trying to negotiate, ngayon po currently, all of this has to undergo our regulatory process, meaning it has to undergo ito pong clearance process from FDA. They have to evaluate it. Aside from that, the basis for the evaluation, aside from the dossier where technical details of the vaccine will be studied, we have a vaccine expert panel, which is under the Department of Science and Technology, and they would be helping us in evaluating all of these vaccines that we are trying to negotiate for across the globe, no? Kasi marami na po talaga mga bakuna ngayon ang meron. And then pagkatapos po nun, meron pa po tayong ethics review board na dadaanan because this is a clinical trial. And everybody going to be identified as part of this trial will have informed consent. Ibig sabihin, ipapaliwanag sa kanila kung ano itong bakunang ito, ano ang magagawa para sa kanila, the benefits, and also adverse events that might happen if ever they will be given the vaccine. So all of this will be undertaken by government before we can be able to start the implementation, if ever, of this phase 3 clinical trial.
Okay, now, ma'am, before I ask my question, let me just welcome Mami Pamintuan of Philippine Star. She joins us again. Ma'am, sundutin ko lang ng konti yung a little more details. No? So, pagka sinabing we're taking part in the trial, ilang tao ba po pinag-uusapan natin dito? At the very first phase, ilang tao pinag-uusapan natin? And piliin yung mga taong yun? How long yung testing and so on?
Depende po yan, no, sa protocol na bubuuin, because in every clinical trial there is a protocol. We will be identifying a proponent, for example, that would be managing, no, this trial, that if it's going to happen here, no. So may protocol na bubuuin dyan, is-spell out dyan, ano, base dun sa mga pag-aaral kung ilang tao ang kailangan para maipakita natin yung resulta. Because when you say it's a clinical trial and it's in phase 3, you try it out with thousands of people, no? Hindi na katulad ng phase 2 at phase 1, kakaunti lang ng mga tao yan. Ito po, madamihan na po na tao para makita natin kung talagang yung bakuna ay talagang nararapat at saka ito ay effective against COVID-19 talaga. Diyan po yan ipapakita dyan sa phase 3 clinical trial. So it will depend on the protocol, how many individuals will be included, ano pong mga areas, gaano po katagal, yan po ay ilalagay lahat sa protocol.
So lahat po ba ng vaccines na yan, sabay-sabay as they come, paano po yan i-introduce sa atin? Are the manufacturers gonna come here like in a bidding and offer their product, or are we going to scout around the world to see which vaccine we can afford or we want to try? How does that work? Yung selection ng vaccines.
Actually, there had been a lot of offers already for the country. Currently, we have 16 manufacturers of vaccines that we have different stages of negotiations with. And this is through bilateral partners. So yung 16 na dyan, kasama rin po dyan sa 16 na kinakausap natin ngayon, yung mga medyo advanced stages na ng kanilang trial, na sa phase 3 na rin po sa iba't ibang bahagi ng mundo. Meron din po tayo yung atin pong sinalihan, yung COVAX facility, kung saan meron din pong 9 na klaseng bakuna na kasali dyan. So in total, makakakita po tayo ng marami, no, na mga bakuna na tinitignan natin kung ano po yung magkakaroon tayo ng final agreement with these manufacturers and it's going to be feasible and applicable here in the country. Ang isa po sa tinitignan natin, and I think it's important, even the Department of Science and Technology, sinasabi rin naman ho pag nag-uusap kami sa sub-technical working group, kailangan talaga na i-try out ang ating phase 3 clinical trial dito sa bansa para makita natin sa local setting natin. Kasi po ang mga bakuna, meron po silang mga characteristics na minsan iba ang effect dun sa ibang specific population. Like there are ethnic groups na merong iba ang epekto sa ibang bakuna compared to another ethnic group. So that is why it is really important that it can be tried out also here in the local setting like here in the Philippines.
So kung ano man yung mapili natin, ita-trial pa yun lahat. Ganon. Ganon pa yun.
Yes, Lucy, no? Kasi wala pa naman nakakatapos ng kanilang mga trials all over the world. Ang pinaka-advanced na stage na bakuna pa lang all over the world, nasa phase 3 clinical trial pa rin. So wala pa rin talagang nakakatapos.
So bakit tayo nakapirmi dun sa Russian Sputnik V?
No, we're not saying...
Bakit yun yung parang ngayon, yun yung lumulutang na yan ang ita-trial? Is it because they're ahead of all the others? Is that the only reason why we're focusing on this Russian vaccine?
No, Lucy, we're not just focusing on that Russian vaccine. There are other, as I've said, we had been negotiating for some time already with different vaccine manufacturers, no? So I think that we started off June pa or May na nag-umpisa po tayo sa iilan, no, ng mga manufacturers. And now, as I've said, we already have 16, no, in different stages of negotiations and another 9 na bakuna na kasama sa COVAX facility. So hindi po tayo nagsi-single out lang. Tinitignan pa rin ho natin, we're scoping and tinitignan natin what would be most applicable and what would be most beneficial for the Philippines.